everyone! Welcome to Rain Francis Art for Kids. My name is Rain. In this series, Halloween Party, we draw and paint and create everything that has to do with this spooky season of Halloween. So let's begin. Well, it's spooky season, my friends, and today I'm going to show you how to draw this quick mummy. So let's begin. This is what you'll need for today's drawing. You're going to need a piece of paper or a drawing pad. I have this dollar store drawing pad. It's 8.5 inches by 11 inches wide. You're going to need a pencil, an eraser, and if you have an old paintbrush that you haven't used for paint, you can use this to brush off your page. I got this at the dollar store. We're only using 2 colors today, and we're using markers. I've got a black marker. It's a fine line, so it's not one of those really thick markers, but you can use any marker you have, black and yellow marker, and that's it. So why don't I clear this off and we can begin. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is draw the outline of the mummy. So we've got a head, and his head is going to be oval. And then watch how I draw his body. I'm bringing his arm out like this, and then kind of a squarish shape like that, and then his other arm out like this. Okay? Now for his feet, why don't I move this up a little bit so you can see very well. For the bottom of his body and his feet, I'm just going to go like this, around, like that. I'm going to push my page up so you can see, and my eyeballs are still in the picture. Okay. So now what we're going to do on his face is we're going to draw 2 little semicircles like this. All right, and that's all we're doing with our pencil. Now we're going to take our black marker and we're going to draw in his bandages. Now remember, when you have a marker, you can't erase. So watch what I'm doing. Let me outline the semicircles of his eyes first, because we're not going to put bandages around his eyes. But we are going to put bandages everywhere else. And what we can do after all of this is we can come in with our eraser and erase all of our pencil marks when the marker is dry. Okay? Because sometimes when you apply marker and then you erase over it, it bleeds. The ink bleeds all over the place, and we don't want to do that. So why don't we start with his head? Now what I'm going to do is I'm using the circle and the whole body as a reference point. Watch what I'm doing. I'm doing one of the bandages like this, and it's going to go outside of his head. And then when I do the next one, I'm going to put it outside of his head on this side, but it's going to be in line with his head here. Do you see what I mean? One is going to go outside his head on this side, one on this side, and I'm going to continue doing that throughout his whole head. But you can have large, thick bandages or thin bandages. It's whatever you want. But what I want to make sure you do is on the top of his eyes, make sure you have a bandage that comes just on the top of his eyes. And it can be a thick one, but no bandages through his eyes, okay? Now while I'm here on the top of his head, I'm going to draw a little bandage that goes up like this. And I'm just going to continue doing that all across his head. On one side, it goes outside of his head, and then the next bandage goes outside of his head on the other side. You see? And while we're here, we didn't put a bandage where his eyes are, but let's just draw in the side of his head there. And I'm just going to go ahead and keep doing that. And you can do this too, watch. You can make the bandages go down a little bit. Just make sure you fill in all the bandages everywhere else. Okay, so that's his head. And while we're here, why don't we give him some eyes? We're going to give him just round oval eyes like that. And we're going to color in the pupil with black. Okay, so now he has his eyes. Now I'm going to start with this arm here, and I'm basically going to be doing the same thing. I'm going to draw a few just regular bandages here, and don't forget to close the bandage on each side. And then I'm going to do the same thing as I did up here. I'm going to bring the bandages out on one side and maybe like this on the other. You can turn them, make them go down here. Just make sure every bit of his body has a bandage on it. All right, let's do the same thing on the other arm. We'll start with a few regular bandages that don't go outside of his arms, just a few. And then we'll do the same thing. Some of the bandages go up, some go down. They could be curvy, they could be straight. It's all up to you, whatever you want your mummy to look like. This is a great drawing to do for Halloween time. As soon as the month of October is here, I always just think of Halloween. I love it. There. Now I'm going to go ahead and do his body. Now for the top of his body, I'm doing it just a little bit differently. I'm going to start by doing some crisscross type of bandages like this, but I'm not going to overlap them. So for example, let me do another one here to show you. This one is kind of crossing here, but it stops there. You see, I'm not going to draw it all the way across. But really, you can do this any way you want. Just make sure he's got a lot of bandages all over him. And when I get down this way, I'm going to do the same thing. One is going to go this way from the middle. We're going to have another one here. And then I'm going to take some like this. All right, and I'm going to continue down the whole way of his upper body. Like that. Sort of, it almost looks like he has, you know, your ribs go that way. That's kind of the direction that I was going with this. In the same direction as the ribs might be. And then when I get to the bottom here, I'm just doing this. Okay, how you guys doing? Is this easy for you? I hope so. I hope I explained it okay. Now for his feet, I am going to keep the bandages on his feet a little bit. I'm not going to make them go outside like I did everywhere else. Not for the whole foot, but maybe for the first 3 parts of the bandage. On each foot, I'm going to do that. 1, 2, 3. They're going to stay in the same shape as the foot. And now I'm going to start putting a few but really for his whole leg here, all the way up until about the other ankle, I'm just going to outline and put lines. You see? Just lines. Like that. And then we'll do the same thing with this foot as we did here. He's got a few that are coming out. And then the rest are going to stay within the same shape as his foot. There. What do you think, guys? How's your mummy looking? I hope that you guys found this easy to do. Now the next thing we're going to do is take our yellow marker and we're just going to color in yellow just around his eyes. Just a little bit of color around those eyes. Okay, just to make them look a little scary. Now you could leave your mummy just the way he is, or if you want, you can erase all of the pencil marks that you did, and that's what I'm going to do. But I want to show you something. I want you to test your markers, okay? I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper here. This is, you don't have to do this. This is a scrap piece of paper. Test your marker. Okay, I'm just drawing a little circle with a pencil, and I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to go over it like this. And now I'm going to erase it and see what happens. That's okay. You see, it didn't bleed. But there are some markers, like if I take my yellow one and I erase over that right away, let's see what happens. You may not be able to notice, but it kind of bleeds out a little bit. So just test your marker. If you can erase right away, great. If you have to wait a few minutes until the marker sets, until it dries, then just wait. But my marker's okay, so I'm going to go in and I'm going to erase all of my pencil lines. Let me just get some of that off. There, I've got all the pencil lines off, and it really looks like he's made of bandages. How you guys doing? Did you get your mummy all done? I hope you enjoyed this. I really hope you liked it. Now let's not forget, the last thing we always do is we sign our work. I want you to be proud of what you've done today. You've created a very spooky work of art, and I want you to take ownership of it. I really hope you enjoyed this quick little lesson, my friends, and I hope you enjoyed drawing a mummy today for the Halloween season. And remember to Mom and Dad, if you post your kids' art on Instagram, please don't forget to tag me. I would love to see it. The link is in the description below, or it's in the About section of my channel. So we'll see you next time on Halloween Party. Thanks for watching. Bye.